Have you ever wondered whether Zionist elites have already established contact with the Dajjal? And if they have, are they now shaping the world according to his agenda? Naturally, some people ask, if such contact were possible, who made it? How would they communicate? Why wouldn't they reveal the truth or return to Islam? In this discussion, we'll set aside myths and conspiracy theories. Instead, we'll explore this topic through a blend of Islamic theology, occult traditions, and elite psychology to examine the alleged communication mechanisms behind this so-called dark network and what some believe to be its ultimate endgame. At first glance, it may seem as though the Dajjal is hiding inside some secret bunker or underground military facility, sending instructions to influential figures through encrypted phones, emails, or satellites. But from a theological perspective, reality is not portrayed in such simplistic terms. The rise of global corporations and geopolitical shifts are often viewed as more than random historical events. Some believe there is an unseen spiritual dimension operating behind the physical world. The first question is whether it is even possible for human beings to physically meet the Dajjal. Within Islamic tradition, the answer appears to be yes. One of the strongest references is the famous narration of Tamim al-Dari, R.A., recorded in Sahih Muslim. During a sea voyage, he and his companions became lost, arrived at an unknown island, and encountered the Dajjal chained in captivity. During their conversation, the Dajjal asked specific questions about places in the outside world, including Lake Tiberias and the date palms of Baisan. For many scholars and commentators, this narration indicates that the Dajjal exists within the earthly realm rather than in another dimension or on another planet. If ordinary sailors could unknowingly reach him 14 centuries ago with nothing more than a wooden ship, some argue that today's global powers, with advanced satellites, submarines, and deep-sea technology, could theoretically have a far greater capacity to search for him or those connected to him. Whether that has actually happened, however, remains entirely unverified. Modern communication is no longer limited to face-to-face meetings. Some believe there is another mechanism at work, what they describe as a spiritual frequency. According to this view, powerful elites receive guidance about future political and technological developments through practices rooted in the occult rather than through conventional communication. The reasoning behind this idea is that the objectives attributed to the Dajjal and Satan are fundamentally the same: leading humanity away from God's guidance and establishing a system built on deception and dependence. Whether or not physical meetings ever occur, proponents of this theory argue that occult rituals, dark magic, and spiritual practices are used to connect with demonic forces that influence worldly affairs. Supporters often point to organizations such as the Illuminati, Freemasonry, Skull and Bones, or gatherings like Bohemian Grove. These groups undeniably exist, although the claims made about their secret beliefs and activities vary widely and are frequently disputed. Certain ceremonies, such as symbolic rituals performed before large owl statues, are interpreted by believers in occult traditions as more than theatrical performances. They are viewed as symbolic acts intended to establish spiritual connections. An analogy often used is that of tuning a radio. Just as adjusting a radio to a particular frequency allows you to receive a specific broadcast, occult rituals, symbolism, and esoteric practices are believed by some to tune participants into a particular spiritual influence. According to this perspective, technological ambitions, transhumanist ideas, and geopolitical strategies are not simply products of human innovation, but reflections of a deeper spiritual agenda. This naturally leads to another question. If those involved truly know that they are opposing God's guidance, why wouldn't they abandon that path and repent? Those who promote this interpretation argue that the answer lies in what they call elite psychology. In their view, influential figures are not necessarily atheists who reject God's existence. Rather, they knowingly reject submission to God while still believing in the existence of spiritual realities. They are described as embracing a worldview commonly referred to as Luciferianism. According to this interpretation, Lucifer is viewed not as the embodiment of evil, but as a symbol of enlightenment, freedom, and forbidden knowledge. In this worldview, technological advancement is celebrated as humanity's path toward liberation, while divine limitations are seen as obstacles to human evolution. From this perspective, those who adopt such beliefs do not think they are making the wrong choice. Instead, they believe technological progress, including artificial intelligence, brain-computer interfaces, and transhumanism, will ultimately allow humanity to transcend its natural limitations, overcome death, and create a new civilization built entirely by human hands. Another factor often discussed is the alleged system of loyalty within secret societies. According to this theory, entry into elite circles requires far more than simply joining an organization. Members are believed to undergo extreme initiation rituals or commit acts that permanently bind them to the group through mutual compromise and blackmail. The Jeffrey Epstein case is frequently cited within these discussions. Rather than viewing the island merely as a location for criminal behavior, some analysts argue that it functioned as a large-scale honeypot designed to collect compromising material on powerful political leaders, business executives, and influential public figures. While aspects of Epstein's crimes are well documented, broader claims about coordinated global control remain speculative and unproven. This idea is often connected to the concept of mutually assured destruction, MAD, where every participant possesses damaging information about everyone else. In such a system, anyone attempting to expose the network risks public disgrace, imprisonment, or even death. Whether this framework accurately describes reality is a matter of debate, but it serves as a model used by those who study elite power structures. When viewed through an Islamic lens, some connect this discussion to Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 7. Allah has set a seal upon their hearts and upon their hearing, and over their vision is a veil. According to classical Islamic understanding, this verse describes people who knowingly reject the truth despite recognizing it. Their hearts become spiritually sealed as a consequence of persistent disbelief and arrogance. Within this framework, individuals who consciously choose worldly power, wealth, or pride over obedience to God eventually lose the ability to recognize guidance. Even when they witness clear signs, they reinterpret them through purely material explanations, rather than allowing those signs to transform their hearts. Whether one accepts these theories or not, the broader lesson remains the same for believers. The greatest protection is not obsessing over hidden elites, but strengthening faith, seeking authentic knowledge, maintaining moral integrity, and avoiding deception in all its forms. Ultimately, Islam teaches that the greatest defense against the trials associated with the Dajjal is not secret knowledge or speculation, but sincere faith, adherence to the Quran and Sunnah, and constant remembrance of Allah. Remaining spiritually grounded is the believer's strongest safeguard against any form of deception, visible or unseen.